Florida State is definitely a top 10 team. However, are they a top 5 team? I think they've got some work to do, and we're going to talk about that next on Locked On Seminoles.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. We're going to be talking about all the good news for Florida State football towards the end of the show. Offensively, Gus Malzahn has them as a well-oiled machine. It has been buy-in across the board. Defensively, more physical, better tackling. Overall, pretty hard to argue. But we're also going to talk about, to begin today's midday show, something that needs to happen for Florida State, not to just be a top 10 team and just make it to the college football playoff. I have a couple categories for Florida State to conquer if they're going to take that next step and be a true contender to at least make it to the college football Final Four. These are the things they need to work on this upcoming Friday against Virginia, against Miami October 4th, against Pittsburgh the week after, so on and so forth. They have to conquer these 2 or 3 areas. And if they do, they could be a team that ends up playing for it all. Who knows? But these are really big question marks. So number one, can Florida State get a consistent pass rush with 4? This is the biggest thing that you see for teams separating. Look at the Super Bowl last year. The Eagles are loaded up front with defensive linemen. Patrick Mahomes was facing a 7-man drop, pretty good coverage, and the best pass rush in the NFL, and they got obliterated. Obviously, Mahomes is an NFL Hall of Famer in waiting. Not really debatable. But they had no time to throw. Florida State's front, it's pretty good against the run, to say the least. But can they get after the quarterback? I'm just going to say it. I haven't seen enough out of James Williams yet. He was supposed to be the guy as a pure edge rusher. No sacks so far. As a team, through 3 games, the Noles have 8 sacks. That's fine, but they're not really generating it with any one player that the opposing team, and I'm talking about elite teams, are going to have to scheme against. You can generate pressure from different players. It's possible to make a deep run. Notre Dame did that last year. Even though that guy's banged up, they had a great defensive coordinator and they just found different avenues. But that's the harder route to go. If Florida State does not find somebody that is consistently just getting the pass rush when everybody in the building knows this guy's coming off the edge or this guy's pass rushing from the inside, it becomes much more difficult to make a deep run. Teams like Miami, who have a great offensive line, perhaps you play Georgia Tech in the ACC title game. Maybe it's in the college football playoff. You run up against a team that's got really good tackles. You're going to need to win more one-on-one battles in obvious passing downs. They're not a bad pass rushing team, but can you generate with 4? It's the not end-all, be-all, but really close to winning a title. Ohio State could do that last year. They could drop 7 and rush 4. All those guys moved on to the NFL. I'm not sure Florida State's on that level, and I need to see more if they're going to be that team that's in the top 5. We'll see. I do love Tony White's ability to mix it up. It's really hard to know where guys are coming from, but it's still an area that if you get just even another 5 or 10% better than what you are right now, it just generating a pass rush with 4, it changes your defense, especially against some of the savvy quarterbacks they're going to be going up against, like Friday night. Telling you, it's like I said on yesterday's midday show, Chandler Morris is a really good passer, and he's figured it out. And then, of course, it's a whole nother level when you play Miami against that offensive line. So we're going to find out real quick if Florida State can do that or not. Secondarily, we're just going to flip it to the other side of the ball. The exact opposite. Can you pass protect against elite defensive lines? Now, I'm not going to be very friendly on this, but I don't fear Virginia's pass rush that much. But if they consistently get pass rush pressure with 4, then we got a whole nother problem. I don't anticipate that. But let's see what FSU can do against Miami next week. Akeem Messidor, definitely going to get a chance to play in the NFL. Reuben Bain, he's going to go in the first 3 rounds of the draft. I don't know exactly where because I'm not sure if he's going to be an end or a tackle, but conservatively, he's top 3 rounds. He could even go in the first round. That is a combination on the edge that Florida State is not the better team, in my opinion. But do they come up with ways to protect with just 5 without having to chip, leaving running backs, and kind of just really shrink the number of players who are going out in routes? If you got to protect with 6 and 7 against their 4, that's not going to work out real well for you. It's on an island, just in reverse. Instead of talking about the DNs getting after it, can the offensive tackles pass protect against the elite players? They were pretty solid against Bama, and I thought Tommy did it. Not just a good job, he really knew when to take off. That's helpful, but you've got to be able to win some games in clutch moments, or at least run a 2-minute offense, or even a no huddle, 50 seconds left in the half. Everybody knows it's a pass. Play action is not going to work. They're going to line up in a 7 technique and just come off that edge. Can you hold your water in those scenarios? That extra 3 points in a big game against Miami, against Clemson, against NC State on the road. Those kind of scenarios are where you make your money. And then it's back to the defense. It's a little surprising to me. Florida State hasn't even recovered a fumble yet. They've gotten 3 interceptions, which is pretty good, but they haven't created the amount of complete chaos that I thought they would. Part of it is the pass rush that I talked about a few minutes ago, but secondarily, they need to get the ball on the ground. Need to see more hits that create fumbles. That one turnover, again, it's the same principle. In close games, can you get there? If you do that, Florida State just winning the turnover battle against Clemson on the road, just to use that as an example, I don't expect Clemson to be terrible all year. They're going to get better. That can be the difference between taking out the crowd in Death Valley, and that can be the difference in winning and losing. Finding a way to get the ball on the ground and getting your first fumble recovery this Friday against Virginia would be a good start. Now, before I go on, I just want to mention something here as a shout out as a positive and a negative at the same time. I looked up Pro Football Focus for pass rushers for the Noles. Their highest rated pass rusher is a true freshman, Daryl Desir, 70.7 on PFF. That's good, but nobody else was higher. Just wanted to bring that up as a point because one of the reasons you get fumbles, sacks, quarterbacks getting hit, ball goes crazy in every direction, and you got a chance for a scoop and score, those kinds of plays. Need some of the juniors and seniors, especially to get home without blitzing. Very, very important. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the numbers and some of the players that I just think have really stood out and have made Florida State a top 10 team. That is next here on Locked on Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by Square, your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make a neighborhood feel like home. I know it's been that way wherever I've lived, and it probably is for you too, whether it's the local sports bar, whether it's a coffee shop like I like to go to. I've got a couple that I really like. And whether you're just going somewhere to get some lunch meat at the local deli, there are a lot of different places in your community that are important that are not corporate. When neighborhoods thrive, so do you. For me, again, I like going to different coffee shops. Wherever I travel for high school football, 7-on-7, going down to IMG, going to a game and, seeing one of the top programs in Tallahassee, in Orlando, wherever it is, I find a coffee shop. But if you don't find that in your neighborhood, locally too, that's not the best thing that you can do. Support your local businesses. With Square, it's a proud partner of over 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/locked-on to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. Something like the Black Dog in the greater Tallahassee area is just one, Newberry, etc. See you in the neighborhood with Square. We are also brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Game Time has a great opportunity for you because with college football back, it can't be more exciting right now than it is for the Florida State Seminoles. And getting into Doak is a lot of fun with the tailgating and all the different people in the stands. But getting into the game and buying tickets isn't always the greatest, especially with some of the crazy ticket fees. I know they drive me nuts. With Game Time, the price you see at the beginning is the same that you see at the end. When you pull up the app, you're going to see a price whatever the ticket is. You click on that seat. You can see your seat view as well. It's really great, but you don't get screwed around with the different ticket price at the end. That's the most important thing. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Again, promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. And finally, we are also brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, and its safety picks are number one with all the awards they've won so far this year through August. And all-wheel drive is standard on every crossover SUV you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda. Move and be moved. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles a part of your day each and every day. If you are not an everydayer, become one. Make sure you lock in by subscribing to this podcast. And if you're on Apple, download the automatic download button. That way you can get everything each and every day right to your phone or your tablet, wherever you listen. Now, let's talk about some of the positives here. A couple of things that I just thought was incredible from what I've seen. I mentioned, can the tackles pass protect against elite competition? They've gotten better, especially run blocking. Just need to see it against elite competition. I was a little disappointed with Bama, to be honest with you, but Florida State certainly held its water. Can they take that next step and prove it against Miami? We're just going to have to wait for that. But so far, the run blocking's gotten better each week. First run this past weekend, that was just a thumper right up the middle, inside zone. Gavin Sawchuk sees the hole, sees an opportunity to his right, and runs down the sideline. That's how you set the tone. O-line getting better is massive for this football team. Secondarily, Tommy just throwing the deep ball. I don't need any stats. I don't need anything. I've talked about those tons of times here on Locked On Seminoles. Tommy throwing the deep ball. They have been tremendous at it. When you can hit the throws down the field, not just scare a defense because you threw it and it was incomplete, but hit them, and of course the receivers doing their job, it changes what defenses will try to do with putting the extra defender down in the box to slow down Gus Malzahn's option-based, RPO-based, shifting, motioning, pain in the butt offense. They run the ball well, but they really run the ball well when you can hit those shots. It starts with Tommy making the right play call or getting out of the wrong play call. And when it's there, he's not hesitating. He's letting it fly. But Kai Danzy, Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, Jalen Lucas, they've hit so many plays beyond 15 yards in the air. It's scary. And now they're starting to hit plays beyond 40 yards in the air. This is an offense that will really go as far as Tommy can take it. It's not just the physical either. It's the mental, knowing when to throw it or get out of a bad play. Give him credit for that too. But Tommy throwing the deep ball like he is, just the accuracy, it changes football games for the Noles. And then finally here, tackling and physicality. Florida State's tackling and just overall physicality on defense make them annoying to deal with. And that gives them more opportunities to drop a little bit more, even if they give up completions on third down. There's been a lot of 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 9s. Let them catch a 5-yard pass, rally to the ball. They get an extra yard, whatever. It's still 4th down. Yeah, Florida State needs to improve its pass rush. I've talked about that. But the tackling and the coverage overall has been good. Florida State is a team that has the ability now, working off of that, to probably mix up some blitzes. We'll probably see some of that against Virginia and even more against Miami. That's my guess. But as long as the tackling's good, you could still play pretty vanilla against most teams. That defense is going to be pretty hard to slow down, and they get after it on 1st and 10. The talent up front, Daniel Lyons, Jason Jenkins, the Sear twins, obviously James Williams, and of course, Big Darrell. That's a part of it. And here's the other good news. If you look at it right now, and I talked about this yesterday on the injury report, go check out that pod. If you saw anything this week, that's probably the most important one. Kevin Wynn being back in practice, that's another guy you're going to add into the D-tackle room. Florida State's in a really good spot. So those are some of the things that I like about them. And again, just to summarize here, for the long term, if you can combine what I just talked about positively and even one up, the pass rush getting better or pass protection truly proving itself against elite competition, did good against Bama, but they weren't as good as I thought they would be. if they can pass protect against Miami's front four consistently, just looking ahead to next week, Florida State has a great chance to beat the Miami Hurricanes. And I think they're a top 5 team. They've proven it more consistently than Florida State because they played better schedule so far. But they don't know what they're going against in terms of an offense like this. They haven't faced somebody with this kind of mobility and this kind of deep ball. So really curious to see if Miami just rushes forward. That's kind of their MO. Heatherman, their defense coordinator, came from Minnesota. He likes to play a lot of cloud and a lot of deep coverage and play man underneath and play aggressively near the line. There's going to be some interesting opportunities for Tommy to hit the middle of the field. It's going to be a different kind of game. I don't think they'll necessarily give up a lot of bombs, maybe some 50-50 chances. But if they can pass protect against them, this could be a very exciting game because then Miami's in trouble against FSU's run. Wouldn't be surprised they came out passing a little more than they normally do with a few plays that are a little bit different. Again, you're going to see new formations, new plays, new blitzes on defense, and really the offense is going to have some stuff. I guarantee you Gus is saving things for Miami. Just remember I said that. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles your first listen each and every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We will see you again tomorrow.